Welcome, my friends, back to Golarion, to the Obari Ocean, far south and to the east of your home city of Absalom, to a creaky old merchant vessel, the Opportune, as it rolls on the ocean's crests, and before you, a city of wonder rises out of the mist, a city of towering spires, of flying towers, of islands completely divorced from the land. The ocean here is strange, prismatic, and the sky at every time of day looks to be full of stars. Dragons, proteans, and other more esoteric creatures flit across the skies as the great city of Quantium rises up before you. Before we know what happens next and what awaits you, we have some heroes to see and some recaps to be had. So, on the deck or below deck of this creaky old merchant vessel, after a 2-week ship voyage, how do we find you? Let's start with Melinda Melrose.
We find Melinda Melrose leaning over the railing on deck, looking a little green around the gills. She is not necessarily made for seafaring, this one.
That's just
that's it.
Just sick.
She's just sick. She's not having a good time.
Fair enough. Melinda Melrose, who is our wizard, the half-elven wizard. Cool. What about H2? H2-723.
So H2-723 is probably actually working as a deckhand because she's big, she's strong, and she got bored of not doing things on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And her sensors are not they're not malfunctioning, so she's not the robot version of Seasick either. Although she has helped carry Melinda around if necessary. But for right now, she's probably doing something with the rigging.
Hell yeah. This trip has been covered by the Pathfinder Society, though you would know, you've been told to keep your wayfinders hidden, and your signs of affiliation with the society on the down low, which is why you've boarded the Opportune rather than teleport here, as your dear talkative friend Zikariz was done 2 weeks ago. You remember Zikariz perhaps maybe making a joke, this is what you get for being bigger than a bread box, you've got to take the long way around. But you've managed to make the best of things for yourself. Meanwhile, Calamus, how have you enjoyed this long fortnight a sea?
Can I use a spell I took as flavor text and not as a spell right now?
Sure.
So I took animal form. So I think Calamus, newly learned in some new additional animal forms, has been hanging out as a snake curled around the banisters on the ship, just kind of hanging out and enjoying the breeze.
Hell yeah. Pretty cool. Animal form does also give itself the shark form. So if you wanted, you could have jumped in the water for a little bit.
I saw that, yeah.
Something cool. Something pretty cool. And finally, our final hero. Ist, how has the sea been treating you, little goblin?
I think for Ist, it's been a novelty because although their family, when they traveled to Absalom, like, I don't know how much of that was by sea. I imagine most of it was by land.
Mm-hmm.
So,
except for obviously the last bit from the south of Andoran down to the actual island itself.
yeah. But this is probably the longest they've been on the water.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a new experience, and they've spent a lot of time going wherever they can get away with being. They've definitely checked out the crow's nest, spent a lot of time, like, they definitely spent a good chunk of time, like, out on the bowsprit, much to the horror of various people. I tied a rope around myself. It's fine. And just sort of using their telekinesis to, like, pull up globs of water and maybe throw it at people periodically, like, just seeing how their abilities worked with water. So,
Pretty
having
cool.
a great time.
Having
to be
a
honest.
great time. Yeah. Well, as the city on this kind of very early morning, about an hour before dawn, the sun is just rising, though as you come into the docks of Quantium, the greatest city of Nex, founded by the Wizard King in the antiquity, the sun almost kind of is dimmed by the mystical lights of the lower level of the city. Quantium is a tiered city. There's a lower one, but it's also referred to as the moon level, and then the top level is the sun level. The lower level of the city has arcane enchanted crystals along the whole bottom of the top tier of the city, held up. There's not like floating, there's plenty of floating towers and islands around the city, but there's also just these enormous carved, patterned pillars inlaid with these gleaming arcane crystals of every hue. It's like just looking at a rainbow sky as you come into the docks. I will say, if anyone is interested in seeing the glory of Quantium for themselves, Pathfinder Lost Omens Impossible Lands came out this year, or last year by the time you're hearing this, is incredible and has some incredible art. I would share a couple for my friends just so they can get a vibe from it, and I'm sure you can also find images elsewhere. Where is it?
What does it feel like to come into a city with such a high concentration of magic? Like, Absalom obviously has a lot going on, but this is a whole other level and not just a tiered thing.
Yeah, it's definitely like the magicians among you, your wizard, your psychic, your druid, you definitely feel a thrum of magic as you enter this place. Give me roll your what's it called? Your
Casting skill?
no, yeah, your casting skill, Arcana, Nature, and Occult.
All of us, or just Ist?
Yeah, all of you. I mean, I guess anyone who is like trying to like look and see the city in that way. Yeah, I'm sharing a couple images.
They're very pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, check out that knoll. Love to
gnolls,
see it.
more than, and like you said, there's gnolls, there's cat folk, there's rat folk. There's more than that. There's like proteans, like primordial chaotic angels walking the streets.
Whoa.
This
fucks.
It's truly wild as you enter it. Okay, and then what did you roll? 13. Ist, you definitely like get like, oh wow, this place is like wildly powerful. Which I mean is kind of obvious, but like you kind of feel it in your bones. But it's not just that. You feel with your psychic resonance, there's like ripples of discontent. This is like a beautiful, powerful place, but it's also a place that is incredibly stratified. And you can you get some of that.
I also, like when you're near somewhere with a lot of bass, like you can feel it vibrating in your teeth almost. Like I imagine that's what the magic.
You actually
feels like.
that just reminded me. Not just that. As you step on, you hear and feel. And you look to the north, to the huge 15-foot tall, 15-foot miles long wall that encircles the city of Quantium. Peering over it, a 30-foot tall golem made of stone that you have never seen before.
Ooh.
Walking an endless patrol, and across the city is its twin.
Oh, cool.
And you feel that thumping in your body. It's like a metronome as this thing walks its patrol around the city. So that's what Ist gets. Calamus, here's the thing about this place that you notice, that you discover, that you discern, is a place with nature here has kind of taken a backseat in a way that is slightly worrying to you. I don't know how familiar you are with this area, but you know that south of here lie the Mana Wastes, a magic blasted wasteland that is like a constant chaotic teeming wasteland. And you see bits and pieces of this. You see there are, as you're walking through the city towards Nexus House, which is the venture, the Pathfinder Lodge of Nex, there are just pipes, sewage pipes, open, spewing gleaming purple and pink and opalescent liquid into the water supply, because there's a million wizards and alchemists and who knows what else just constantly fucking with the bonds of reality, and whatever is left over, whatever detritus is left from that, just gets dumped into the sewers.
Calamus does not like that. Another reason to not like humans.
It's not just humans here, but for sure. It's a place of wonder, but that wonder you can feel comes at a cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think Calamus has ever been here, so not familiar with it. Just disgusted.
Yeah. And you, Mindy, Melinda, you feel the thrum of this place. You feel the, here's what you see. All over the place. This place is awash in art and culture, in decorations. There are statues everywhere. There are murals everywhere. And you notice every single one of those statues, every single portrait and mural and mosaic that depicts a person, those eyes are enchanted and are watching.
Cool.
There is little that goes on in Quantium that somebody does not know about.
Cool. That's awesome. That's cool and great and fun and doesn't make me feel very, very uneasy.
So it goes. But the opportune docks at the eastern port of Quantium. Quantium, one of the several great cities of Nex. There's also Enopion, the alchemist utopia, not quite so, and Acanis, the wounded city. You'll not be going there today, but those are things that you've heard people talk about. You walk through the streets, you see all these things, and you make your way quickly to Nexus House. Dawn has risen, the lights are gleaming. Interesting thing about this city, it's huge, it's weird, it's powerfully magical. It is less than a third the size of Absalom.
Ooh.
60,000 people live in Quantium. 300,000 live in Absalom. So like, you can almost feel a little bit like, yeah, I mean, it's cool, but it's like, it's not Absalom.
So the vibe of New Yorkers when they're anywhere that isn't New York.
Yeah, this is like New York.
Yeah.
This is New Yorkers coming to like Chicago.
No, I would say it's New Yorkers going to like Kansas City.
Sure, if Kansas City was full
Chicago
of magic,
is like way bigger than New York City.
physically, yeah, but it's
Physically,
dense.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyways.
Anyway, so you arrive at the Nexus House. Nexus House, tall, beautiful structure with a domed ceiling, orange and purple and gold accents, many archways with some lions out in front of it. You are welcomed in by the staff. You enter the incredible entrance hall, where there are two statues of two figures holding hands, and gazing at each other romantically. And behind them is a 30-foot tall reverse waterfall.
Reverse waterfall.
There's a
Go up.
waterfall that flows up. Yeah.
Who are the statues of?
Yeah, you ask one of the people. So that is Adolphus, the scholar, and Ganje, the princess of Bopan. They were the founders of this place long ago. There's much of a story. They were in love. They liberated funds from the treasury of Bopan as they escaped the island, fought their way across much of Garund, and then settled down here to build headquarters for the Pathfinder Society.
Sick.
Yes, it is said that when lovers pass their statues, they can be seen to sigh or nod in approval.
I'm like looking up at the statues like, okay.
There's two. One is Taldan, one is Bopanese. Bopan is a island. I think it's like near Vudra or Jalmaray. That you would all know. A roll society, actually.
Everyone, or
Yeah, whoever's interested in thinking about it. Mindy, you would know that Bopan was an island. I believe it's near the coast of Jalmaray. It's in the Obari Ocean. I'm pretty sure. That was two things. One, it is the people who live there are animal-person hybrids, because they've all been touched by an intense Fey power there. I forget what it's called, but there was this whole Pathfinder. The Pathfinders a couple years ago had this whole big expedition there to help the people of Bopan work against the fairy tyrant that had taken over the country for hundreds of years. Yeah.
Oh, so is one of the statues an animal person?
I believe so. It doesn't describe much about her beyond the fact that she is from Bopan.
I want to know what kind of animal person she is, but I guess it doesn't say.
We can just say she's a fox, I guess.
Hell yeah.
But as you enter and you go through, the luxurious magic of Nexus House cleans all of your clothes. Your shoes have been shined. Any ragged hems are stitched before your eyes.
As if I would show up with ragged hems.
Well,
I'm a cactus.
you're a cactus. You feel your quills get polished and sharpened.
I don't think Calamus likes that.
It doesn't like having her stuff fucked with. So we'll share the disgruntled vibe. Just
Yeah, give each other like a look.
But and anything that you attract in is cleaned magically as well. It's one of the reasons why this lodge can have as few staff members as they can, because it is intensely enchanted to be clean at all times.
Mindy seems normal about this.
How much magic do you think it takes to, like, do all of that? That is, like, that's so much.
So much magic.
A lot of magic.
Like, so much.
It clearly comes at a cost.
This feels excessive.
It does feel excessive. Yes, thank you, H2.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I appreciate, like, you might save on, like, staffing costs, but still.
But you're led into a meeting room where you see a bronze-skinned gnome wearing a bright crimson sash and a lavender saree, not sure, standing beside a wooden table holding a lumpy parcel covered in velvet. As she speaks, there are a multitude of bangles, earrings, and necklaces jangle musically. I actually have art of this character I will share for you. The rest of you, that description should be good enough. 1 second.
Neat.
Indeed. And she says, "Welcome to Nexus House. I am Vashvatom Sebnet Sanserkot at your service. And may I, and as she is speaking, you hear the velvet cloth rumbles, and it says, and she sighs and pulls the velvet aside to reveal a grinning skull. Pink lights twinkle in each of the skull's eye sockets as she says, "As I was saying, the great Zikariz! Sebnet, I thought we worked this out. I promised to stop doodling on your table, and you promised to pull the curtain quickly for the dramatic reveal."
Making friends, then, see?
They look at each other and then look at the table where an ink pen rests next to numerous crooked spirals as if someone had drawn them with the pen held in their teeth.
Oh.
To the gnome, I say, at least it's not dicks.
Indeed. Zikra says, "That just goes to show my powers of divination are ahead of their time." And hey! Senet drops the velvet back on her head. And then
I love Zikris.
Takes it off. She says, "Our humorous friend here, I believe you are already well acquainted, and is why you have been brought here. We don't have too many details, but Zikriz, and Zikriz says, those letters do not get enough love in your stories. It's a crime not to use them." She's taken the name Zikriz for now because she likes the sound of it. Sebnet's eye twitches. But she's almost certain that wasn't her name before. After you discovered her in the Grand Lodge, there's been quite a bit of research as to what she might be, what her provenance might be. Nobody could really figure out who she was or what she was, as if the person she once was never even existed. But I have come to believe that she is one of the Arc Lords of Nex. Other recent events provide evidence to support this theory as well. Agents of our longtime foe, who you may have met, the night hag Aslin, have been snooping around anywhere I went to do research. It's as if the more we learn about the skull, the more others do as well. Which brings me to your assignment. I need you to take Zikriz into Quantium. Follow her hunches and premonitions about where she can go to remember who she is. Return here when you've gleaned all you can, and together we'll try to discern why Aslin is after her before whatever scheme she's up to comes, dare I say it, to a head. Sebnet pulls the velvet cloth off of Zikriz. Perhaps, and you should decide amongst yourselves who will carry Zikriz in your travels.
I think we already know.
I was about to say, I don't think we get to decide that. I think that Ist is going to do that no matter who wants anything different.
And as is our now custom, the potential questions that you can ask before heading out on your quest flash onto the screen. As we, cut to a 3/4 view of your characters.
All of us just sort of standing there looking off into space.
Okay, but what actually is an Arc Lord? Like, you say that she might be one of them, but what is it?
The Arc Lords of Nex are powerful and influential faction of wizards who claim to be descended from Nex's household servants. They've been lobbying for control over the country since Nex himself disappeared.
And you think Zikaris is one of them? Why?
It's admittedly more of a gut feeling than anything concrete. I was visiting the Grand Lodge for treatment after one of my experiments rendered me temporarily deaf, and the thought just hit me when I encountered her in the vaults. We've already eliminated the possibilities of her being undead or an intelligent magic item, so there's few things like it could be, and Arc Lords tend to have rather significant magical powers to have strange things like this happen. Regardless, it gives us a place to start digging.
So you said, Vashvatam. What does that mean?
It's a Nexian title. It equates to Venture Captain. It has been the long-standing tradition of Nexus House to use the title here.
I see.
And, you don't think that Zikaris is going to maybe draw a lot of attention to us?
Well, so it's complicated. Fortunately, there are few places in the world where people are as willing to accept the magical and fantastical as normal as the streets of Quantium. Even a talking skull is unlikely to cause a scene. Still, the longer the investigation takes, the more likely Ashland's agents will catch on to your deeds. Once you've gathered what you can in the city, return here to collect your research. And just make sure people don't think she is undead, because that would be bad. Undead are anathema in Nex.
Well, if she's going to draw a lot of attention, could we, put her in a back... Or not, she's not going to draw a lot of attention, but, if we need to, we could, put her into a backpack or something, right?
Absolutely not! I refuse to be treated like a bag of bones!
Well, you're not a complete bag of bones.
There's only one of you. There's only one bone.
A skull's more than one bone, Mindy.
I knew that.
Mindy.
Obviously. I obviously knew that already. It's 5?
Depends if you count the teeth as individual bones.
How many teeth do you think you have?
Mindy failed science.
It's every single teeth is an individual bone. Shut the fuck up. Nobody talk to me.
As your conversation winds on, Semnet also says, a couple of letters arrived ahead of you by, a mystic courier from some of the faction leaders of the society. I've got one from Iendo Klein, head of the Vigilant Seal, and Fola Baroon, leader of the Envoys Alliance. And she holds them up.
I take one.
Which one do you take?
I've already forgotten the names of the characters you just said.
What were the two factions again?
The Vigilant Seal and the Envoys Alliance.
Got it. I'll take the Vigilant Seals one.
Okay. I'm gonna share this with you so you can read it to your friends.
All right.
You want to grab the other one, H2?
H2 grabs the other one.
All right. You will now find them in your journals.
A sealed request. Okay. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I agree with our archivists that we need to identify and catalog all of the things that have entered our vaults, but shipping one of them off to Garund just because she can talk isn't wise. And I'm not just saying that because she called me a rusty shovel and insulted my beard. If you're reading this, however, it means that I've been overruled again. While you're investigating things in Quantium, the Vigilant Seal recommends that you keep the skull's presence as discreet as possible, and I do recognize that this is no small thing that I ask. More importantly, keep information about the skull and any magic linked to her on a need-to-know basis. I trust your judgment if you feel certain allies of the Society can be trusted with knowing more, but I also trust you to know where those limits are. Keep on your toes down there, something you should remind your chatty friend that she can't do. Edo Klein.
Jesus.
This person's being very rude to you, Zick. Zick? Can I call you that?
You seem to have made an impression.
Yeah, you certainly do.
I tend to do that!
You sure do, bud.
Sure do.
The evil skull cackling.
I love Zikarid so much.
Zikarid is great.
Yes.
I think H2 looks at the letter, crumples it, and says, "We are to be on the lookout for new allies, so we should not kill anyone if we can help it."
You're not going to say anything else about it?
This was from Fola Baroon. But
I love you, H2.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's great.
No, it's great. This is good character moment.
And then H2 offers the crumpled letter to Ist. I think you will find there's not much else there.
I'm not a fucking child. I don't... It's fine.
I take the letter. I just sort of pluck it.
It is mostly as described. Sebnet does kind of tap her bangles in thought, and she says, "Well, there is a possibility that those two directives will come to conflict in some way. Thankfully, yourselves as Pathfinders are more than authorized and expected to make decisions about such a thing in the line of your duties. As long as you find out as much information as you can about Zikaris, then your primary objective will be completed."
What is the vibe between these two factions of the Society, or these two individuals, like Baroon and Klein specifically?
Roll Society won't be a hard one because you are Pathfinder age.
Not Pathfinder lore?
Yeah, Pathfinder lore, absolutely.
Fuck yeah.
That is a 24.
Oh, yeah.
So the Vigilant Seal is Eando Klein's faction. So here's the thing. So Eando Klein is a little prickly. He is an old school dude, renowned Pathfinder, a guy who has in the past quit the Society when he thought it was going in the wrong direction, and has come back to ensure that it does not go in that direction again. The Vigilant Seal's goal is to make sure that the Society is not reckless in its work, and also does not just... The Society deals with a lot of magical artifacts, a lot of magical creatures, and a lot of just magic that could be very harmful. And the Vigilant Seal's job, their aim is that we treat those things with the respect and caution they deserve, and not just put on a magic ring because we don't know what it does. You know, that's their whole thing.
We would never.
I would never.
So that's the Vigilant Seal. It's like, do not just... Anything can be hiding in the world, and we need to be careful with everything, or else... You know, Tar-Baphon was sealed away for some time. Demon Lords are sealed away all the time. If you open the wrong door, the worst thing in the world could happen. Meanwhile, the Envoys Alliance is about recruitment, about making alliances, about improving the Society's internal culture for the benefit of all the agents, and increasing the support. Fola Baroon is a what is her class? I don't know what her class is. Maybe a druid or something. She seems druidish, and she is the captain of the Vigilant Seal. I know less about the Envoys Alliance. I know less about her, but her whole point is there have been times when the Society has been pruned, or even just where events have led the Society to losing large swaths of membership due to tragedy or like war or whatever. And Barun wants to make sure that the society has, one, as many competent and capable agents as possible, and that the ones that we do have are trained properly, are treated properly. Like a lot of the Envoys Alliance is like also like medical research and like psychological like treatment for people who have seen terrible things. Yeah, that's the two factions that have reached out to you with secondary objectives.
Alrighty.
All right.
All right. If you'd like, you can also make a recall knowledge or gather information check about the city as a whole. You already seen a lot of it, fair like on your way from the docks to the Nexus House. But if you want to like think about anything else, society, diplomacy, or any lores to remember any other pieces of information.
I'll roll a society check.
Cool.
Yeah, there you go.
You want to get a second opinion on that?
Yes, I do.
Wait, does Ralph know society or is he Arcana?
Oh, great question. I don't know. I guess Arcana is the thing that Ralph knows.
Oh, okay. It's all good. You learned a fair bit as you came in.
Okay.
Hey, who's Ralph? Because I don't think we've seen Ralph on screen. Or on air, I should say.
I don't think we've seen
So
Ralph
Ralph is on air, yes, on air. So Ralph is my familiar. He's a rat, and he lives in my hood.
What does he look like? Is this like a Dumbo rat? With the big ears, like
Yeah,
a fancy
he's got
rat.
the big ears. He's a fancy rat. He's a black hooded fancy rat. So he's got like his head is black, and then the rest of his body is white. He is modeled after my own dear former pet rat, Oreo.
Oh,
Impeccable.
He's always cheesed to meet you.
Exactly. He is always cheesed to meet you.
Why?
Sorry. I just lost it from looking at Jade's face. Jade
I
is just
suffer
like
enough.
Okay.
I mean,
bye.
look at this little guy. This is the wrong color, but he's got the right pose. This little guy comes and he says, "Hello, I'm cheesed to meet you."
No, my guy.
I'm just reminded
Aw.
of the meme on Tumblr that's like a cycle, and it starts off with a little mouse, and then it's like, "I'm cheesed to meet you," and then it's like, the cops can't find enough evidence, the charges are dropped, and then it's back to the top again.
Yes, that is what the new mouse rat Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet is what I've seen that with. Very funny. A meme won't mean anything in 2 months.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. That's fine. It's going in the outtakes anyway. It'll be fine.
But yeah, so
It's a more accurate look at
A good man.
at Ralph.
An excellent man.
but
The next
Oh,
little
yeah.
man.
excellent little man. And so Sedmet says, so I've got a list of the places. Zikr is prone to sort of just stream of consciousness. I've picked out what pieces of useful information I can as to what areas might be helpful in triggering any memories or investigating her background in any way.
All right.
How many Arc Lords are there?
Oh boy, I actually
This is an in-character question.
have no idea. Let me see if there's a list. I think there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a number because I know because the Arc Lords are like a faction within the city, but they're not actually in charge of the city. The city is ruled, and much of the country is ruled by the Council of 3 and 9, who are 3 archwizards and then 9 other people from other various various concerns within the country. The Arc Lords, I think the Arc Lords is like, there's enough of them that it's like not a quick list. It's like more than like 20 or like up to like 50 or 100.
Okay.
It actually used to be a prestige class in first edition Pathfinder. The one thing is that you can recognize an Arc Lord because they have a third eye.
Does Zikaros have a third eye?
Not currently, but Zikaros is a skull.
That is true.
In case you haven't noticed.
Shit, I hadn't noticed. I'm sorry.
Zikaros doesn't technically have, like, flesh eyes anyway, so...
It's so right.
Zikaros' eyes are just glowing pink. All right. So you sent out into the city with that list. What is as you leave? The city is a bright. You walk out into a bright morning. The sun climbs towards fluffy clouds, they're like slightly obscured between the glittering lights of the thing. You will notice, like, while you didn't see it as easily when you were coming in from the docks, there are a number of like huge gaps carved into the upper level of the city, the Inwezi level, that allow natural sunlight to come in, and it's almost like surreal, shadowless light, because there's the sunlight, and then there's the crystal light, and then there's all the other glowing shit around the city. Kind of looks like just a little surreal when you've lived your life in Absalom or anywhere else.
Like being in Vegas.
It's like being in Vegas, yeah.
It's a lot like being in Vegas, honestly.
It's Wizard Vegas.
The streets of Quantium flow with uninhibited magic, an arcane wonderland unlike any other major city across Golarion. From the stairs of Nexus House alone, you can see an ice cream cart being run by a Protean individual, sort of like primordial chaos creature. You see a pack of oozes on leashes being led by a wizard down the street as street sweepers. You see the golem walking around the edges of the city. You reach the bottom of the stairs. A tall plant woman walks by, and Zikaros goes, and she just looks at him and looks at her, and then just kind of rolls her eyes and keeps walking. That was a Goron, which is a type of plant person. They are sentient crop people. They're like Leshies can be any kind of plant, but Gorons, as I understand it, all come from are animated food plants.
Huh, cool.
You see to the south, the enormous Bandashar Palace sits in the middle of the city's lake, surrounded by serene waters and flying carpets. Technically, it does not sit, it floats over the city's lake. To the far west of the city, far east, you see the Scriven Bow Library, red stone sticking out amongst the other buildings. As Zikaros, in Ist's hand, says, "Well, the world is our oyster. Where do we want to go first, chums?"
It certainly is. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of these locations near somewhere that we can go shopping? Because I want to go shopping in Wizard Vegas.
Oh my god.
There is. I think the Merchants League is one of them. If you want to just read the areas.
Oh yeah,
I'll read this out. There is a bureaucrat at the Bandashar Palace, a certain location at the docks,
ominous.
2 persons in the Merchants League, a nearby nature preserve, a priest at the Scrivenbow Library, and the Warlock's Walk.
Mm-hmm. And so basically, what your plan is to do is you go to these places, look around. There will be skills that you can roll to help to jog Zikaros' memory. And then if you succeed, you will perhaps gain, she will be able to recall something of her previous life.
Do we want to head back to the docks first, as that's the closest?
Yeah, that's what I
Sounds
was thinking.
wise. Yeah, that sounds wise.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
And then maybe head up to the top level to get to the Scrivenbow Library, because that's pretty much directly above.
So you head over to the docks. Is the easternmost point of Quantium. Far in the distance, you can see Valkus Isle, which you sailed past on your way here. Zikaros says, "Hey! You came here on boat, right? Which one did you take?"
Is our boat still here?
Yeah.
I point at it.
Oh, you came here on that. You Pathfinders really are brave.
It was a trial and a challenge, I must say.
I got to teleport.
I know you did.
If somebody would like to be occultism, perception, or sailing lore.
Well, certainly don't have any sailing lore.
Perception it is.
And are we allowed to have multiple people making checks or just one?
Yeah. Looks like you can all do it.
Well, you go ahead first, Calamus.
Oh yeah, you go ahead first, Calamus.
Oh, it's fine.
Nice.
So Calamus, how do you use your perception skill to like help jog her memory?
I think just by talking to her, as we go around and pointing things out.
About the things you see?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you look out over the sea, the Obari Ocean, which you came in off of today. You see in the distance, gray and misty, is Valkus Isle. And you're like, oh, look at that. And she says, yes, Valkus. It was where Nyx's first palace was, where his first great failure. I would come here often to contemplate it. That wizards, if they are not careful, great horrors can befall those who are not careful. Valkus is the greatest.
I like where I'm holding her. I like rotate her up so she's looking up at me, and I'm like, your voice just changed, right?
What?
Fucking weird.
Yeah!
Huh?
That was a little creepy, huh?
Yes, I mean that place sucks. It's awful. It's become a prison these days. If enemies of the states, dissidents, seditionists, anyone who somebody doesn't like, you can go in. You can't go out. There's a dome over the entire island, and it's full of terrible, terrible arcane monsters.
Wow.
Oh.
Is there anything more to be gained? Or is this sort of what we were here for, was to get this upset reaction to Valkus?
That does seem to like a memory has like jarred loose. Though if you want to keep talking, you certainly can.
I'm just wondering if it's worth making an occultism check, just to see if we can gain anything else here for her.
I will let you know out of character. There's only one memory per location.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Well, why don't we head up to the top tier and get a better look? Go to the library.
What? Sure.
I'd look there, just like, look, if you see any particular good books, I do have something I made on the boat. I'm just saying.
Ooh. What'd you make?
Yeah, I found this recipe. It's called Book Thief Brew. It's this really clever little paste, and you like spread it on a page, and you can do like a copy. It's like mirrored, but then you just hold it up to a mirror. It is incredibly fun.
Oh, like Silly Putty.
What the fuck is Silly Putty?
This motherfucker ain't ever heard of Silly Putty.
I can't believe this person hasn't heard of fucking Silly Putty.
I'm just now fucking thinking of that Tumblr post, which is, well, the presence of Silly Putty implies the existence of a serious putty. That's just C4.
H2 would love serious putty.
H2 would love serious putty.
So you head up the southern, the northeastern, like, huge thing. There's this enormous cylinder building. It is just a spire of deep red brick. And as you're approaching it, Zicarus's eyes kind of flicker a little bit, and she says, okay, so next we're going to go to the library of the demon. Well, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we shouldn't go to the library of the demon Lord Abraxas. Maybe we go to the twin temple of Nethys. That seems like it's going to be nicer, even though it's a little bit harder to find things.
The demon Lord Abraxas.
Yes.
You don't think that's relevant?
I I think I maybe had the same thought before, that it was not a good place to go.
Forget shopping. Let's go. Let's go to the library.
No, it's a place to go. Maybe you'll think of something while we're in there.
Wait, the Scriven Bow or the Twin Temple of Nethys that I was like, we should go there instead?
No, it's the Scrivenbow, which is where we are now.
But the Twin Temple's just over there.
I can see that. Can I just point out that I appreciate that you are just a skull, but Calamus and I only have very short legs, and we've got to walk all over the city. And having gone to the effort of getting here, you're a skull. What's the worst thing that can happen to you?
I don't know.
I'd argue the worst thing that can happen to you has already happened to you.
I will, tell you, maybe, that the person who should be worried about going into the Scriven Bow is not me.
Are you saying one of us should be worried?
I'm saying it's the fucking Demon Lord of Secrets. And I think that maybe it's a bad idea to go there.
Mindy immediately is like, you know what? I trust the skull. I think we should listen to her. I don't think we want to go in there.
I have no secrets. It will be fine.
I am a cactus.
Maybe you don't. I'm gonna stay with Zikaris out here while you guys go inside.
Anything you want to get off your chest, Mindy?
Yeah, no, I also want to go inside the library. Just looking at my line, like, would I do this? Yeah, I have secrets, but also I'm chaotic neutral, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Mindy is torn very deeply between books and. I just gave the camera a look. Sorry, bad times.
I will.
Sorry to our listeners.
I will place Zikaris in Mindy's hands. Well, keep our girl safe. We'll go check inside.
All right. Be careful. Be careful.
What?
Have a good time in there. I'm holding the skull.
Great.
Just the fucking visual of a fucking 6-foot-tall robot woman, a cactus, and a goblin walk into a library. This is
a joke.
This is the beginning of a very funny joke.
So you enter the Scriven Bow. So the interesting thing, Scriven Bow is 4 stories tall. It is the only red building in the city. Everything around it is turquoise and blue and purple and white. And so it's just this like red just line in this great, enormous, beautiful city. Inside, it's dark. Not dark. It's dim except for the lights around the books. It's quiet. Masked and robed people go up and down. A librarian kind of glides towards you and says, "Hello. What knowledge do you seek in the Scriven Bow? And what are you willing to do for it?"
You can glide?
"I can walk very smoothly, and my robes make it look like I'm not moving at all."
Cool.
Look, those Russian dancers.
Leads to Calamus. Heelies.
That must be it, yeah.
I want to be clear. Heelies are canonical in Golarion. You could buy them
There.
like
Clockwork
wheeled
heels.
boots, like clockwork
Mhm.
heels. They are literally a thing.
That's so good. This is canon now.
Yup.
Oh, I'm not here. Sorry.
So can I make? I suppose it'd be a religion check if it's about Archdemon Lords, isn't it?
Mhm.
Shit. Ugh.
I mean-
religion.
Technically, I have religion.
Yeah,
Yeah?
like
Want to give it a roll?
I mean, what are we in for when a spooky librarian is just like, yeah, I can help you, but you got to give me something. Like the demon lord of Braxis, the name Scrivenber, what it means to be in
Yeah.
here. Go on, H2.
Give me
How
a
about-
religion.
Oh, I will, like, as we look at that, as we're walking in, I'll just look up at H2 and just like, hey. And I just sort of like hold on to the pendant around my neck and just like pat her arm. You got this. And I use guidance.
Ooh! Except for the
Oh.
16 to a 17. You would have heard the name Abraxas. Abraxas is the demon lord of forbidden lore and magic, called the Master of the Final Incantation. He is an individual who knows countless magical formulas, spells, and secrets, the most important of which is the Final Incantation. The Final Incantation is the last spell that will ever be cast, because to cast it is to end magic.
I relay this to my companions and say, this seems very apropos of an Arc Lord who has turned herself into a skull.
Well, someone turned her into a skull.
I suppose. I don't know. She just seems very foolhardy. It seems like it could be self-inflicted.
So, how can the Scriven Bow assist you?
What histories do you have on the House of Nexus?
The House of Nex, the wizard, or the Nexus House, the Pathfinder Lodge?
The House of Nex. And the Arc Lords that have formed their own faction in his disappearance.
We have many histories, though I will admit that the bulk of the base knowledge is found in the Bandashah, where Nex once lived. What is it that you seek in specific?
Trying to think how to phrase this. I think like Ist like chews at her lip, and because sharp goblin teeth, I imagine just like nicks the skin a little bit. I picture Ist as having a couple of little scars around her mouth from just this habit.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
The sort of things that they wouldn't want public record.
Crimes. Things best.
Infighting.
Ah. We have some such secrets here. What do you offer in return?
I think Ist like beckons this librarian down so she can whisper in the ear of this person, because doesn't want like Calamus and H2 to necessarily hear.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, you can perception check and hear it if you want to try. But I think what Ist can offer is an account of the fall of Last Wall, because she was there.
Mm-hmm.
And just stories of the Knights of Last Wall and the Last Stand and all that. Just like that notion of just like think something that she saw or that the tribe encountered on the way to Absalom.
Interesting. Now, these are shared experiences, not quite secrets.
You telling me you never walked away from your parents when you were a child? Saw something only you saw.
Unfortunately, that is not
Well, shit.
what
How big a secret does it need to be?
you are not from here. Are you a traveler, a merchant?
Traveller. A seeker of knowledge.
From whence do you hail?
Absalom.
Well, Absalom has many secrets.
I could tell you about a temple under the city.
You... Okay. You want to tell him about the temple of the living that you found down there and the thing that you saw? As you do, the eyes behind his mask kind of glitter a little bit. He says, very interesting. Let me see what I can procure for you. And he glides away.
This place is really cool.
You know I'm going to put rollerblade sounds under that now that I know that he's using Heelies.
I didn't say it was using Heelies, but you can do what you want. Okay, let's... So, the thing is...
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this will work. After some time,
Mm-hmm.
he returns. And he says, I'm sorry. There was a night hag whose daughter sought an Archlord in this city. But it's impossible. Our records are gone.
You remember anything about this daughter?
Yes, the name is Liaskra, daughter of Aslan.
Right.
But the Archlord is vanished. When I say gone, I do not mean taken. Removed, but not by hands. Pages blank. Names obliterated.
Oh, shit.
Hi, it's August, and I just wanted to thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed us, please consider leaving a rating on your podcast platform of choice, telling your friends about us, or tweeting about us using the FTLcast hashtag. We are also part of a nonprofit podcasting guild called Standing Stones Productions. We do a variety of shows, including The Room Where It Happened and Dumb Kids Playing Hero, 2 actual play shows, and a Steven Universe discussion podcast called Gay Space Rocks. We also do live streams at twitch.tv/standingstonesprod. You can keep up with everything that we do on Twitter at stones_standing. Unfortunately, Standing Stones was already taken. Your support means a lot. Thanks again!
Previously on Follow the